Howdy folks, it's the Aspie Cowboy here, or as I'm known on Facebook, Puzzle Joe. And today I'm going to be talking about my recent experience at the Detroit Pistons and the fact that I got to announce there. I got to announce the starting lineup at the game for All Abilities Night, I think it's called, or Basketball for All, I believe is what it was called, the event. And so this was on Tuesday. It was a really exciting experience because, as you know, anyone who follows me knows that I love public speaking, and so getting to announce at a basketball game was a literal dream come true. So that's what this video is going to be talking about. What was the best part about it? The lower, the ugly, the things that weren't quite as good. So that's what we're going to be talking about. So I was invited down to the Little Caesars Arena to announce the starting lineup. And so basically we'll start off, we'll start from when we left to all the way till when I was done and when we came home, basically. So we had to leave very early to go to the arena to do everything, to get set up, to get checked in. And I did a practice run where I announced the names and stuff early on, just to check the microphone, I guess, or honestly, I don't really know what it was for. Basically just a practice run, essentially. So we did that. And so, first thing, we had to, of course, have a parking, which was really nice. We had a pretty decent parking spot. Of course, it was raining, so we kind of had to walk in the rain a little bit, which, it's rain. No one likes walking in the rain, but so we managed that. We found out where our entrance was, where we had to go in, and we contacted the person that was our, I don't know what you'd call them, basically the person that we were talking to, that was our guide. I guess that's what you'd call her. She was a guide, so she helped us in and everything. But first we had to go to the entrance, and we had to call her to let her know that we were there, so she had to come up and get us. So when we got there, we had to go in through the colleague entrance, I believe it was. I think that's what it was called, where I guess all the employees go through, so they have like metal detectors and stuff. And so it was kind of like a minor thing at first, because we had to we were waiting, we had to wait for the lady to arrive, so they told us to sit around, or to not sit around, but to sit down in some chairs, and I wanted to stand. I guess I was comfortable where I was standing, so one of the security people, I guess, kind of got annoyed or something at me because I was standing somewhere where they didn't want me to stand. I wasn't doing anything wrong. I just preferred standing where I was. I'm very claustrophobic. I have different things that I don't like being around and stuff, so like where I was standing was fine and comfortable for me, but they wanted me to sit somewhere else where I wasn't comfortable. It was like in a little dark, cramped little room where they had a couple chairs, and I liked just standing. I was happy standing, so they didn't want me to stand. I guess they wanted me to leave that area. So, that's something I'm not totally used to, having to deal with security people and security type stuff, which, it obviously is a good thing. Of course, we want to have good security. We want to make sure everything's secure and safe. But it's something I'm not used to because I mostly just stay at home or go to the store, so I'm not used to like being around security people or, doing little minor things. I've had incidents where people have had a problem. Like one time I was at a movie theater, and I think I got overwhelmed in the movie, and so I just decided to go sit out in front of the doorway, or not in front of the doorway, but near it, when my dad was watching a movie. And so I wanted to just sit and wait for a bit because I got overwhelmed. I was stressed out, so I just decided to sit and kind of cool off and, get into a quieter area. And then I was approached by a guy. I'm pretty sure it was a security guard. He was asking what I was doing and asking all these questions and just staring at me suspiciously. And I was like, well, I didn't do anything wrong. I just explained to him, hey, I just wanted to cool down, blah, blah, blah. And so, this was also near the time, or a little after the time, where there was that shooting in the movie theater. So I think I was probably a suspect to them, which, is not a fun thing to have. But, at the time, I didn't really know much about that stuff. I just wanted to go to a movie, and then I just wanted to relax. So, like I said, I'm kind of getting off topic, but I'm just saying I'm not always used to having to be around a lot of security type stuff. So it was kind of different to me and made me a little nervous, but we got through it. It wasn't a big deal. It was just, they told me to get out, out of the room that I was in. I had to go to the other room, so it was odd. But, it was okay. Like, nothing bad happened. But so the lady came, we met her and everything, and so we she took us to the downstairs area where and we had to do a lot of walking, so she took us downstairs. We actually walked all the way down from the, like, I don't know what it was called, but it was like, where you would go in to sit in the game. So we walked down all those stairs all the way to the main floor, the where the actual court was, the basketball court was. So we went through there, and then we sat down. We talked to them a bit about what the plan was and everything. So we did the sound check. I did the practice and everything, so that went all fine. And so then they had us sit and wait for a while because we had to get there pretty early. So we just mostly sat around and just relaxed and practice the names, because of course some of the names are a little different to pronounce, so I had to practice. They spelled it out phonetically for me, which was really nice, so I was able to read the names and like understand how it's spelled and everything, because that's always something when, as an announcer, a public speaker, because I've announced at basketball games at a high school, so sometimes I have to know how to say a name, so that's something very important when it comes to doing announcing for me. So that was really nice of them to have that written out for me to understand how to spell it. So that was really good. Everything worked out. We just waited a few hours, and the people were really nice. All the people that we met and were encountered with, they were all very nice, very accommodating, and very good people. So we're very thankful for that, and of course have no problems with the people. So the only other, I'd say the major downside, or the only bad thing that I would say about the experience, was the noise, because, as some of you may know if you've been to an arena, they play really loud music, especially the bass music, the really bass speakers, really loud. It really thumps in your ears, I hate that so much, when I'm in the car and then, all of a sudden someone will pull up and they'll have those bass speakers, and I hate it so much. It makes me just want to escape or go crazy. I hate it so much, so I wasn't too happy with that, honestly, like that. I mean, I get it, it's an arena, so people would probably just tell me, well, you have to deal with it because it's just something you have to do. And I get that, but I really didn't like it. So for a while, they wanted me to sit in the arena and in the court area where the seats were for a while they were playing music. The Pistons were doing their warm-ups and stuff. And I just couldn't do it. So I was sat down for like a minute, and I was like, no, my ears are gonna drive me crazy. I didn't know if I was gonna get damage to my ears, so I had to actually walk out. And then of course my dad and my the guide, they were following me. So I just told them no, I could not do that for a whole hour and a half listening to that music. It was gonna drive me nuts. So they found a quieter area for me to sit in until it was time for me to go meet the announcer, Mr. Mason. He was very nice, of course. John Mason, the legendary Pistons announcer, he was a great guy, really friendly. He talking to my dad, he was talking to me. He was just a really, really cool guy, especially since he's so busy. He has other people talking to him, telling him what time, like, counting him down to make an announcement. And so, he'd be busy, but he still had time to be very nice and very friendly. So he's a great guy. All the people that we met there were very nice and very friendly. So have no problems with that. And I was able to make my announcement, so that all went great. Had no problems with that. And so the experience was very nice. It was really nice people. It was really fun to get to, accomplish my dream for the second time, because this was the second time I went to a Pistons game. Because I got to do it about, 4 years ago, I think it was. I did it the first time, which was, even more exciting because it was the first time I ever got to do it. At least this time I kind of had more preparation on how it would work. So I was a little bit more prepared on how their routines and stuff are, and what the noises are like. So I was a bit more prepared this time, although the noise, I'm never really prepared for loud noise because it's just not for me. So that was the only negative thing, but I guess it's just something you'd have to expect and deal with when you go to a game. So yeah, but it was really fun. Would definitely go again. And I have to say, I've really got a lot of respect for the people who work in stadiums like this, because I could not imagine having to do it all the time, because they have so many people working there doing different things, dealing with the noise, the crowds. I mean, it would be very overwhelming for me to do all the time. I could tell you that. I mean, it was fun to do. It'd be great to do every once in a while, but to do it all the time like they do, I have a lot of respect for them, because that, even as a neurotypical, I would imagine it would still probably get really stressful and frustrating, just because it's a lot for any one human, the noise, the crowds, just, having to do your job while having to juggle all the other stuff. I have a lot of respect for any of them. So anyone who works at a stadium is watching this video, you have a lot of respect for me, because that is something I could not do. But thank you very much for all that you do, because it's a big stadium. It's a huge stadium. So there's a lot of people there, a lot of work, and just it's a really well-oiled machine, I think is that the way people say it. So it was really well. Everything was great. The people were nice. The environment was nice, aside from the noise. So I would definitely go back again, and I'd love to one day get to announce a Lions game, a Tigers game. I just want to get to keep announcing as many places as I can, because it's my passion, it's my hobby, and so that was my experience, the long and the short of it, because it's I went in as much detail as I really could. So it was a lot of fun. Definitely want to do it again. If you have any questions for me, feel free to ask them in the comments, or, if you want to check out my Puzzle Joe page, feel free to go in that. I'm going to post the video. Hopefully we're going to be able to get a video of my announcements. So I'll post that to Facebook. It's Puzzle Joe on Facebook. That's my page. So check that out when we end up getting the video for that. That'll be really cool to share with y'all. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I really appreciate it, and stay tuned for the next one. Goodbye.